So, sir, you built something like from your heart, like with all these values and this journey that you described. And when you decided to move to the next phase of life, like when you decided, okay, maybe I need to move on from here, what was that phase of your life like, and how did that look like?
When Anju and I started Suburban Diagnostics, we never thought that we would reach a stage where we have to let go of it.
Hmm.
Um, and this was a lesson that I learned later in life, which I think is important for people to know when they raise capital. Private equity is a very expensive form of capital in multiple ways. One is when you have a private equity investor. So we got Sequoia Capital on board in end of 2012. So big achievement in terms of a global marquee brand like Sequoia wanting to be a part of our journey. And when you get private equity on board, you are mandated to give them an exit within a specified time period. When you get private equity, you are running on a treadmill
Hmm.
and you continue to run on the treadmill. That the treadmill is provided by Sequoia, then somebody else will come in place of Sequoia, but you continue to run on the treadmill. Uh, so that's a mindset that I was not familiar with when I went ahead with private equity, which I learned much later.
Hmm.
But as is my philosophy of ethics, that if I have mandated to give them an exit, I must give them an exit.
I want to ask you this question now. You have gone through this journey of like raising money, handling your business. I feel a lot of first time founders or like young entrepreneurs, when they are starting off their journey, they are deficit of capital, right? They don't have enough money. They are looking for scraps here and there, or they manage to raise it with their family or friends, or something happens. And when they see some sort of success in their business, and now there are people out there who are willing to give them capital at that point, because that capital has been lacking in their life was till that point, they might tend to just jump on the first opportunity that comes their way.
Correct.
And that also could lead to like people who don't have the best interest for that particular business exploiting that founder or
Sure.
exploiting that business.
True.
For that young person or that young business person right now looking for capital, what would be like the principles according to you that they should stick by when looking for the investor, where to take money from?
So a friend of mine and I used to live in the same building at Seven Bungalows, and we used to travel by bus to Andheri station, and then we would start chatting. So I would only be interested in sports at that time, and he would only be interested in business and CNN. He's now become a very large investment banker,
Okay.
but he continued to add value to my thinking throughout my entire journey. And he said one thing to me. He said, Sanjay, dilute as little as late.
Mm-hmm.
So when he became a big investment banker and we were running Suburban, we had raised money from family and friends, and then we had taken debt, we had taken a bank loan. And then I started hearing about people having raised private equity. So I went to Manish, my friend, and I said, you think it's a good time to raise private equity? He's saying, Dekh Sanjay, I can buy 50% of your company at this value today, but this is not the right time. Continue growing your business using internal accruals, put the money back into the business, grow the business. I will tell you when it is right. So from few lakhs to crores, we started growing the business, and when we were about 27, 28 crores of top line, that's when Manish said, perhaps now is the right time. When you've exhausted your leverage on debt, you can't take any more loan, perhaps now you should look at private equity. And again, he said, when you're diluting, take only what is needed at this point. Don't take more than what you need, because your biggest value is the equity that you have.
Mm.
So we diluted only a small amount. There was a primary and secondary. So primary is the capital that goes into the business. Secondary is what you can take out of it.
Mm.
So of the capital that we got, 80% was primary, 20% was secondary. So that was the first time after starting the company we could take some money out. Perhaps if I look back, I may not have needed that much of primary or of secondary. I should have kept most of it in primary.
Mm.
So as you said, the lure of when you have been bootstrapped and you don't see money and suddenly you see money, you get attracted to it. So I think that's a very good point that you raised, that take out money only if you really need to, if it's going to make if it is essential for your lifestyle. Otherwise, keep as much money in the company, raise only that much that you need, and don't dilute your equity. Today, when I meet founders, I find founders having diluted significant amount are below 50%. Some who only hold 20% of their equity. They've just raised a lot of capital. I'm not in favor of that. I feel this philosophy of dilute as little as late continues to hold true even today. Of course, there are some people who say raise money when you don't need it because that's when it's easily available. There could be some merit to that statement, but I believe that don't be in a hurry to raise too much capital. Don't dilute your equity. Uh, Take time to grow the business. If you do the right things, uh, capital will always be available. If you are continuing to grow and you continue to remain profitable, there will always be people interested. And that is what my initial investment banker said. Because we kept getting offers of, do you need more money? We can buy you out, etc., etc. He said, look, Sanjay, that if you are continuing to do the right things and year on year you're growing the business and year on year you're showing profitability, you will always have people who will be interested to partner with you, either to give you money or do a merger or whatever it is. So and that has worked for me at least.